Hey everybody, Paint Marine here with another video. We're going to call this one In the Crosshairs because we just had a new preview. Now they just put a new Warhammer Community article up that was supposed to be like a funny new Primaris stuff coming out. But it actually is showing a preview of a lot of new models. And in the video they kind of talk a little bit. They definitely confirm a few, but they don't really talk about this over here. Now obviously they've intentionally blurred the the video somewhat where the models were, so you can't get a clear view. But then there's some that you can obviously tell what they are. So let's start with the most obvious. They call this a new tank transport here. Obviously, I mean it's definitely a cross between a Rhino Razorback and Repulsor. If you haven't seen, I did a definite version of myself that I did. I called it like the Indominus pattern repulsor, the kind of idea, or Razorback. The idea being it's kind of like a cross between a repulsor and a Razorback. Um, and here it looks to be the same. Now it actually kind of looks very similar. Like they added, like it's I don't know, it's definitely a repulsor and Rhino hybrid. It looks like they kind of have the two openings here for like the pilot drivers or whatever. Which I don't know. I'm not too keen on that. I was kind of hoping maybe there'd still be like a turret mounted. In my version, I had a flamer weapon coming out here, but then it looks like there's potentially a sponson up here, and then you got some kind of turret, which could be potentially maybe some kind of Las Talon thing. I mean, they don't, obviously we can't tell, but it's definitely a turret. And you kind of have like these side things here. Not really sure the purpose of these, other than it's just to make it look a little bit bigger, like it can actually carry maybe some Primaris in it. But we do look like we're getting some new Primaris transport that's going to be cheaper than a repulsor, which is kind of nice. Um, so the repulsor is currently a dedicated transport, and then we have the repulsor eliminator that's coming out that fills in a heavy slot. So we'll see. This should fall into a dedicated transport, I would assume, or at the very least a fast attack, probably. But we will definitely see. Then also confirmed, this here is the Eliminator squad, and it's blurred. My guess is because they have the new Las Fusils. I believe that's how you pronounce it, but I'm pretty sure that's why that's well, it's all new, so that's why it's blurred. But my guess would be that these are the um, the new Las Fusil Eliminators and their new multi-part kit coming out. Then another really cool looking exciting thing here, reminds me a lot of Titanfall with these new Redemptor Dreadnoughts. But looks like this here is a new Redemptor Dreadnought type of thing. Uh, it definitely looks a lot lighter. It almost looks like it could be taller than the other Repulsor, but not quite as armored up. We'll see. Maybe it's faster. It's got some antenna on there, so it might have some of that same kind of uh, deep strike denial kind of jamming that the Infiltrators have. And also, this here looks like that Cerberus launcher that the Landspeeder Storm had. So it could have like kind of the same grenade launcher stats that it currently has in this edition. But one thing it had in previous editions was it had the blind rule, which would be very interesting if this has blind and if this dreadnought can do some kind of a deep strike. And then it can fire these grenades that have kind of like a blind, or like the shock grenades that the Reavers have. If it can basically do that same thing that the Reavers shock grenades can, but this thing has a longer range because it is in a launcher of some kind. A lot of people have said that they think this is a close combat weapon. Obviously, this is a fist, but they've been saying like this is a close combat weapon, and the angle's kind of weird. It almost does look kind of like some sort of like a sword or chain sword type of thing. But there is another picture. If it is the same exact kit loaded out, I would I don't know. I wouldn't. It's kind of hard to say whether or not that is actually a close combat weapon or not. All right, moving over here. Um, they pretty much confirmed this is a new lieutenant, and there's a little bit better picture of it. It's like a lunging forward. He has a knife, like you can kind of tell this is a knife right here, and then this down here is actually like a smoke grenade that was dropped, and it's kind of like smoke is starting to come out of it. So this is a new like Phobos lieutenant that they have coming out. So that leads me to believe that these other models here, through the back and through here, are the Infiltrator multi-part kit, and it's kind of like someone thought they saw like a heavy weapon, because this here kind of almost looked, and I thought it at first too until I realized that this was actually the lieutenant, and then I also thought it over here, but this is um, one of the eliminators. Because at first when I saw this, I was kind of on my phone. It was a lower res. It was kind of hard to see. Like, so this kind of almost looked like it could have been a belt fed, and then I kind of was seeing the same thing like in through here. I thought maybe a belt fed weapon. But it's definitely not. This is definitely lieutenant. These are eliminators. So that leaves this, like I said, probably to be the infiltrators. Now, maybe they do have a heavy weapon option in there, but it's just really hard to tell if there is, and what other kind of weapon options they may or may not have. Yeah, not too sure there. So then here we have what looks to be some kind of a character model. I'm not sure what. I mean, it looks, this could potentially be, I mean, there's a few things. This could be some kind of a sword, or it could be a gap, and we could be seeing the base, because I could definitely see the base here, and then it kind of goes up. So I'm thinking that this is just a gap here, and then the arm is kind of mixing into whatever this is right here. Um, I'm not sure at all what this is. It's kind of hard. It could, maybe we're finally getting a standalone ancient, so you don't have to buy the Dark Imperium, and you can be able to buy the ancient on his own. Because it kind of looks like it could be a standard potentially, but I'm not too sure. But then that leaves, what is this then? If this is, we know we got a lieutenant. Do we got another captain coming out now, or what exactly? I guess so. But let's take a look at this other picture that kind of has a little bit clearer photo here, um, and I'll try to zoom in here a little bit. Uh, well, let me go back real quick. I'll zoom in a little bit here so you can try it, but it doesn't do a whole lot, a whole lot for it zooming in. All you can definitely tell is that this is for sure. I mean, obviously, this is obviously what this is, and then this is pretty clear what this is. They even, like I said, confirmed it as far as, this is the repulsor, this is infiltrator, or wow, I'm way off. This is like a new tank. This is a dread, and then these are eliminators, and they confirmed that this model here was a lieutenant, but they didn't talk about the rest. This, I'm assuming, is some kind of character, though. I just don't know what. Could be with this kind of like, looks like a robe of some kind, like right here. I almost wonder if it's not like another librarian of some kind, which would be, I don't know, that would make up to 3 librarians. Maybe it's a new character. They got Primarisized. I don't know. So, well, but let's take another look here. So this is one of the screens at the end, and we'll kind of zoom in a little bit. I won't go too far because then it'll start to get really grainy and blurry. But yeah, of course, everything is, his hands and everything are positioned just perfect enough where it's kind of blocks everything. So this is an infiltrator here, but you can't see what he's got in his hands. We got eliminators over here. This is definitely the sergeant with that same pose with the his binoculars or whatever there. And I'm assuming these are the new guns, but again, here's another one. But they look pretty similar to what they already have, except potentially maybe the barrels are different. So it's really hard to say what exactly we got going on here with those two. And this is the lieutenant. This is a pretty clear picture right here. Like I said, he's lunging forward, got a knife out, ready to stab. Not really sure what's going on in his other hand. It's kind of blocked, but then this is that smoke grenade on the ground, and it's kind of blowing up the smoke out of there. And then, of course, the new dread in the background. So we get a bit of a clearer picture here. We got like the antenna, like we got this launcher. They've really blocked this area, kind of what it looks like. But then this is right here where I said it kind of looks more like some kind of a shooting device. Now, the way that this is kind of blocked, it kind of looks like an Imperial Knight weapon almost. So I kind of think there's 3 things potentially going on here with this weapon. It kind of looks like a mini version of the Melta that the Imperial Knights have. It could be potentially a flamer if this is supposed to be like a Dread Knight, or a Dread, yeah, Dread Knight. It kind of looks like a Dread Knight. But if it's supposed to be like a Dreadnought that can deep strike, and then if these can blind, then maybe this is more of a close combat. So this could be like a flamer or something. But the other thing it could potentially be, it could be the auto cannons potentially. Those new auto, or what are they called, macro auto cannons or whatever that the Oh, I can't remember what they're called now. They were in the Shadow Spear box. I actually have their the card. Oh, the Suppressor Squad right there. Um, so it could potentially be some kind of version of the Accelerator autocannon. So potentially maybe a two-barreled auto accelerator autocannon there that, um, like the special rules have, that has suppressing fire. So maybe this could be a dreadnought that can deep strike, blind, and do suppressing fire of some kind. So that way, when it comes in, like it's up in your face, and it's also now, uh, very much impeded whatever it just dropped next to, and then it could have a jamming device here, like the infiltrators have, where they have the where is it at? Omni scramblers, so you can't sit up within 12 inches of this, so a deep strike denial on this unit as well potentially, which would make this a crazy awesome dreadnought, which I could see just because of special rules alone. If that is the case, even if it has a little bit like weaker on the toughness because it's kind of like not as armored up, I could still see the points being comparable to even maybe a little bit more, because then you could pair something like this with Reavers or something else coming in. Um, and actually have almost a viable kind of close combat thing going on potentially here. So, um, yeah, so very interesting with all that. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to what's going to come up. I do think this. I really obviously think this means that we're going to be having a um, new Codex, Space Marine Codex coming out this year for sure. Um, there is a rumor here I want to pull up that was from. All right, so here's a rumor that came from Fayette 212 or whatever back. This was in November of 2018. Now, they mentioned a unit of high-speed one-man vehicles, so that sounds like jet bikes or some kind of hover bikes or something potentially. Primaris medium transport, we have that. We have that now confirmed. A Primaris small flyer. Still haven't seen any flyers, so still wait for that. Primaris vehicle variant with a new large turret weapon options. We saw that with Executioner. And then we have Primaris heavy infantry unit with assault terminator weapon equivalents. Have not seen that unless that's what we're seeing in the Reavers, but I doubt that. So I would say we've seen one and two of these three. Or no, I'm sorry, I missed. Yeah, right here. So one, two. Yeah, so we've seen two of the five that they're saying here in the rumors. Um, so I don't know. We'll see. There's still plenty of time left in the year. A lot of people are saying that a new codex um, in August. I think that's a little too soon. I mean, we're just at the beginning of July. They've shared this little teaser now, which to me means they're going to start sharing in the next community updates. They're going to probably start showcasing these models. Probably, if not this coming week, the following week they're going to start showing those models slowly to everybody, which means that we would probably see these all released by August, but I don't think we'll see a new codex if they are indeed planning on still releasing some kind of a speeder bike variant of some kind, or a small flyer and then heavy infantry, like assault terminators or something like that. So if we still have three more types of units potentially to see, I don't think we'll see a codex in August. I don't even think we'll see it in September. Holiday time though, coming up here right before the holidays, that is when I could potentially see a new Space Marine Codex if they're gonna start really, if they get the rest of these out. They could really, I could see them doing these last three all around the same time as a new Codex coming out and have them all rolled into the Codex. So I don't know. I guess time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see. So. All right, well, thank you for watching this video. Tell me what you think or what you're hoping for, what these things are going to be. Definitely interested in hearing what you have to say and jumping in that conversation with you. Also, please check out the Facebook page, see what I got going on there. And please, please, please hit that subscribe so you can see some future videos. If you have any ideas for anything that you want to see or what you want to discuss or anything like that, please leave a comment, let me know. I greatly appreciate it. And until next time.